Beloved. Yes. Guys. Yo, Shattergat. Appreciate the offline follow, bro. I see you. Bugles up. One Call of Cthulhu legend to the next. Appreciate you coming through. Yo, Sage, what's going down? Bad Carpet, don't stream when I'm not going to be able to watch all the way through. Dude, I've asked you repeatedly to send me your schedule so I can base my life around it. And yet you refuse. And yet you refuse, Sage. How dare you, my friend. Love you, buddy. Hope you're doing awesome. How is everyone out there? How are we living today, guys? How is life treating us today? Oh, how am I, you ask? Oh, what's that? What's the unvoiced question? How am I? Pretty solid. Yo, dude, you got the wrong email address. Those emails must be bouncing back, bro. But yeah, your boy's living. Happy to be here. Doing my best to keep Sage satisfied. Sated, shall we say. It's never enough, all right? It's never enough, but it's a good thing. Yo, foos. Didn't book a single one of them, but they went great. Felt good about them. The one on Friday, dude, oh my gosh, Zella5812, hello, lover. The one on Friday was crazy because it was the first time I'd gone, and it had been the whole gamut of dads. Like, there was the 60-year-old dad, the like late 40s overweight dad, the mid 40s cool dad, and then wait for it, guys, me, the young dad. Yeah, no, it's all good, Foos. I appreciate you asking. I mean, I book maybe 4% of my auditions. You know what I mean? And that puts me in the top 5% of the globe. It is a business rooted around failure, and one increasingly that I have zero interest putting any, I don't know how to put it, like, it's like if you serve a roulette wheel, you know? Or excuse me, like a slot machine. Like, that's okay. I play the slots within this metaphor. But I'm not going to sit here and try to like Ouija board it and like figure out why this one and that one and this one, like, it's such chaos. So that's something I try to be at peace with, you know? You know what I'm saying? You get the deal. You get the deal. Okay, but always appreciate you guys asking and supporting. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm reaching out to a new theatric rep, new film and television rep. She's actually my voiceover agent, and she's awesome. And I'm really hoping that we're able to collaborate this year because, you know, your agent does a lot. But man, when they know your style of performance, of comedy, of whatever, it's a whole nother level. It's like when you've dated someone and it's like, oh wow, this is cool. Like, I like this person and we're hanging out and the vibes are right. But you're never completely comfortable with them, right? And so there's a little bit of like that in play at all times. And the equivalent within this metaphor is like, this agent, this voiceover agent gets me. We are comfortable together. We could have a Netflix and chill and it'd be very, very, very chill. You know what I mean? And my current agent, I vibe with, but I don't feel like they get me on the same level that this other person does. Like, they view me more as a, like, straight dramatic actor. And I do comedy, bro. All right? Don't let this face fool you. I'm a clown. I'm a clown. All right, I'm also a DM. Let's get down to it. Let's get to the gritty and the nitty. Session is Thursday. I'm going to be playing on Thursdays with this group for a while now. I'm not really sure how long. I also like started the stream at the same, I mean, like in absolute synchronicity with the eruption of leaf blowers, probably 40 feet away. So I hope you guys are able to enjoy that as they leaf blow the inside of my brain onto the street. But we've talked a lot about this Thursday campaign. Started as Dragon of Ice Spar Peaks, now become a bit of a homebrew. This is a recap that I wrote, and this is actually something I used to do a lot. Like, whenever I first was DMing, as soon as I finished, I would go and do a post-sesh. and just bullet point it. Like, ran from the dragon, met the wizard, his name was Bob. They owe Bob 50 gold. Boom. And it just helps me to get down names, get down action, get a feel for the flow of what took place. To, of course, keep track of it, but to really set it up to weave into the next session or later on in the campaign, whatever the case would be. So last session found them in Long Shadow Castle. They were at the abode of the Wojevs, a very wealthy, long-standing family of largely humans here in the Sword Coast. They had made their fortune by selling books. Whoa, dude! Okay, is it that bad? I was so curious. That's so great. Doesn't know how to properly massage to stay in metaphor. Hilarious. Hilarious. Meatball, you get it, dude. You get what's happening here. And yes, let us always stay in metaphor. Evie, what's up? Let the bugles blast. As you have arrived, so have the lawnmen. Heroes in their own right, but villains today. Villains today. I'm realizing I normally stream like this stream Monday morning, and so that's why I'm butting up against their vibe. But, Evie, I love you. How are you? What's going on? What's going on over at Altered Echoes? What's the deal? What's the dizzy? Dude, I was about to play with Extol this week, and they had to, like, cancel the stream. Like, they're not doing the VTM stream anymore. So, I don't know. I don't have all the deets. He's such a legend. I love him to death. But I was really excited to talk today about me playing tomorrow with Extol. That is no longer going to happen. However, Sunday, I will be joining Insomnia over on his channel. Should be a good time. And been dragging through Cypher as a guest. What the fuck? How did I miss that? So glad you're running Cypher. Dude, I need to watch a Cypher actual play. I need more of that. That's rad. Well, good. Hope you're doing awesome. When is that? Was that this weekend? I feel like I got a notification of you guys and I missed it. My brother-in-law, who's absolutely rad, has been in town with us this weekend and has been leading the charge of really just like pre-baby work. You guys can hear this leaf blower like inside your brain as well, right? Like they opened your ear and they walked up the brain, inside the pineal, and then started leaf blowing your third eye, right? Is that just me? Got it. Okay, cool. But this guy is such a gentleman. We actually share a birthday. I love that. And we were doing a ton of like baby prep stuff, you know? Like getting ready, unboxing, continuing kind of the rearrangement of our apartment. And I say that just because like everything was, you know, just everything like came off, you know? Yeah, there were some issues and the campaign got canceled over on TYR. Extol and Joel are now on staff with AEA. Oh, cool. Oh, got it. Man, I hate hearing that. Foos, I have no doubt it's fun. I love your ability to vacillate between player and DM. What day do you guys stream the Cypher game? Like, I really do want to check that out. Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I am really glad to hear that Extol and Joel are over at Altered Echo. I met Joel just by voice chat last week as sort of a pre-stream kind of meet and greet. And obviously I love Extol. I've had him on a couple times. Yeah, that sucks. Cypher was Sunday, so we go again in 2 weekends. Great. So not this Sunday. Awesome, because I would be out this Sunday. Amazing. So Sunday the 28th at noon Pacific. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm pretty sure there's no playoff games that day. You guys have picked a great time to stream for me personally. Right. Good. I'm glad it's not this weekend, DB. Good. Okay, fuck yeah. Well, I follow Altered Echo. I remember seeing that thing on Sunday. So here's the deal, guys. The Tuesday campaign is now on Thursdays. As you guys know, this campaign has been going on for almost 4 years. That's an enormous amount of time. So that's like both too much and somehow not enough to finish this campaign. They're moving towards the final kind of thrust of the action and of the world and of them kind of needing to make some decisions about that. One second. I love that. So, like, I've really wanted them, like the party, to feel, of course, empowered to make their own decision, to go the way they want to go, as every GM, DM, like, wants. But I also have been aware of the fact I'm having a kid, the fact that I'm moving a lot of my creative D&D focus more to Twitch and more to like actual play kind of stuff. And so, it's bittersweet, but I'm excited to finish the campaign. And anybody out there like finished a homebrew campaign that was super long and like went on? Dude, the final battle against the BBEG has been completed. They won, they beat him. Now they're more or less seeing like the fallout from the repercussions of this wizard meddling with different elements of the timeline, stepping across the material plane and the astral. And basically what remains for them is to either... Legacy is finishing, holy fuck! Congrats, foos, dang. And like, how hard has that been for you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I mean that across the spectrum. I less meant emotionally and more meant structurally. Like, how challenging has that been for you as a DM? I have found that a lot of what I kind of get, kind of cranked on and sort of gets me excited, but also keeps me coming back to the table, is that building sense of story. And there's a lot of elements that I've had in, right? Like the time traveling wizard. I didn't know if they were going to get past that guy. One of them didn't. One of them, was turned to dust. But after that, I knew that it would be more or less them having a small amount of time to decide which avenue they'd like to go to resolve things. They know they're not going to get to all of it. They know that it's not all going to get done. But if you could, what would you do? So they were faced with go to the north and save one of the last remaining dragons. They were faced with go back to Silvery Moon and deal with the threat of the rising drow military presence. Or third option, rogue option, wait for it, go to hell. Now you know where my party went, dude. You know they went to hell immediately. Toot sweet. And I anticipated that to a degree, but I didn't realize until they were there that I was kind of like, oh, fuck. Because it is... I basically, and this is what we're going to do today, is decide whether or not we're going to do the long or the short arc in hell. And because of the way we play and the way we role play and take our time with stuff, I'm just going to design the short arc and assume it will take a medium length of time, right? Okay, what you guys got? Getting to actually finish a long campaign is so rare. Agreed. It's like finding a shiny. It's amazing and worth congrats. Appreciate that, Evie. Yeah, I felt that. Oh, I didn't realize that. I get difficult terrain mixed up in my head. I knew that. Okay. And that's something that you guys are picking back up from years ago, eh? Or just the characters from years ago? Well, how does it feel as a player? Is there something that your character feels they need to do that they aren't going to get the chance to do? That's kind of my main question, because I see that on the horizon potentially for a couple of players. Now, obviously, we could just keep going, and I could facilitate this, and I'm considering that. I don't know how to put it. I'm just like, I'm feeling like a bunch of life bombs about to go off, and I just want to make sure I'm able to handle the changes in scenery, right? Oh, totally, Evie. We're going to stream the wrap-up, 100%. Yeah, I always suggest doing a wrap-up after a campaign or gets called off to do wrap-up chats. Your players can tell reveals that never came up in game. Oh, and give the story of what happens generally after the story ends. I love that. Wow. Legacy was picked up from over 15 years ago. Okay, I knew it was the characters. I was not sure it was the arc, and it sounds like it's both. That's insane. Over 15 years ago when we played 3.5... Wild for me to think of retiring Ravaya. Is Ravaya the ranger? Man, that is so wild. Like, Foos, you've been trotting that character around for a while. Ranger Barb, okay, yeah. Damn, dude. It's beautiful. My turtle rogue, Tarragon, aka Terry. You know, I dropped a lot of this in the Discord, but he basically went off and tried to cross Barovia on his own. And made it, but the magic that he sought to use to bring his brother to life was unsuccessful. And, man, that feeling sucked. It's definitely the most devastated I've been as a player ever in my life. And so I then basically created a new character to join the party across the map in Barovia. But it was really awkward because I've only retired one character. We finished the campaign, and then I moved her into my campaign as an NPC existing in the Sword Coast. So that was fun for me to like make her, you know, find her epilogue in that sense. But with Tarragon, he's still alive. You know, he's just sort of like broken from the party and sort of broken emotionally himself, and is like, you know, getting drunk in the town of Barovia. And it really challenged me because I sort of was like, is this like, am I not doing the full service to my character? Should I be Tarragon and should I march my ass back across the map to confront the party or join the party, or should I go to Ravenloft and just kill Strahd? And ultimately, like, none of those things really made sense. Like, I'm like, Tarragon loved his brother. He couldn't get him back. He's going home. Like, he has one of those, you know, great potions from the Vistani. He's going through the mists. And that felt really bittersweet. It felt very sad to me in a way. Because I was like, oh, shoot. You know, like, this is, I love playing this rogue. I love playing this character. And now I'm not going to anymore. Anyway, crazy thing is she grew up with me. She was about my age when we started, and we time skipped in-game as well. So she's about my age again. Foos, that is hilarious. I mean, like, because you were starting that as a teenager, huh? Like, you guys were, I mean, like, kids, like, you know, adolescents. That's unbelievable. Like, I just cannot, that's got to be like 1% of games. I have never heard of that happening. I don't know if Evie or any other DMs have ever heard of that ever happening, but that is epic and very badass. Okay, back to the Storm Chasers. Let's go. So they made it to Hell. They piddled around this castle, right? They weren't sure where they were going to go. I had been desperately trying to get them to commit to a direction for a while. It wasn't happening. We were not getting there. There was no clarity. So I kind of had to take my hands off the wheel, let them drive a little bit, sort of trust the party to find their own way. And they ended up deciding to go through one of the portals of the Nine Princes. Now, these are these opaque, like 12-foot tall, fiery mirrors that essentially work as like teleportation gates. You step through them and you are bamfed elsewhere. The mirror is not a two-way experience. Like, if you step through the mirror and turn around, it is not there. So the party knew that they were essentially stepping into Hell solo. They're also level 17, so, you know, they didn't really give a fuck. But, you know, they knew there wasn't going to be, you know, it just wasn't going to be gifted to them. They head down there. They saw some stuff. They found out some stuff about the lore. And they were going there specifically to Hell to go to a place called the Library, which I thought was a really cool thing. You know, a Cibriix is a fiendish abomination. It's a creature that is a pretty high challenge rating. I mean, I think like 16 or 17. But essentially what a Cibriix does is it's like a lore keeper. It is a hungry, fiendish, like lustful addict for knowledge. Ancient, secret, forbidden. Like, the more hard to get or the more scarcely known a passage is, a factoid, a piece of history, the more precious and delectable it is to a Cibriix. So if you're dealing with these fiends of hell, and they themselves have chained up Cibriixes in this area of hell they call the library. Imagine like a Google search bar, but it's made out of these like pussy, fleshy, enormous amalgamations of hook and beak and brain. That's what this library was. And because the family Wojevs had access to it through this portal, like they had a really rare resource. They could basically pop down and be like, what actually did happen to Queen Azrin? Whenever Brundlethar left, Waterdeep, like where did he hide his treasure? Whatever. And this whole campaign in many ways began with the prompt of what would happen if books began unwriting themselves? What would happen if books started working backwards? And then trying to do a trickle-down effect of like what would be effective, what would be ineffective. Oh my gosh. Glasses up to toast to all the GMs with players that just don't want to decide to go in the direction. Amen. Amen, sister. I mean, hey, we're already out here doing God's work. You know what I mean? The least you could do is tell us where you're going. And yet they do not. Man. I just have to, again, vocalize how incredibly challenged I am by the proximity of these leaf blowers. I think it's just the idea of like talking while someone else is talking is literally maddening to me. The actor in me, the improv artist in me is losing their fucking mind right now. However, the professional continues. And I love these guys. These guys are like, these guys are salt of the earth. It's just like, shit, I thought we were here for 30 minutes, guys. We're going on 40. What's going on? You do great work. Maybe call it early today. All right? Maybe call it early. Maybe get an early lunch. Yeah? Okay. So this family, the Wojevs, they live in Longshadow Castle. They were a conceit that was built early in the campaign that was meant to really connect two things. Like one, why these books were unraveling themselves. Because this family that had been responsible for creating them, for publishing them, for mass producing these books, was now kind of getting meddled with by this wizard. The other thing, and this was just because of the map, and I'll just drop this in. This is the library, by the way. These X's are where the Cybriexes used to live, or used to be able to be found. And as you can see, it's like designed like a face that was meant to be like the knowledge of good and evil. Over here were cages where they would keep, famed humanoids to more or less torture them for whatever knowledge they might contain. And then over here is a portal. Now we'll get to the portal. That was, again, just a conceit from me to like move them along through the plane of nine hells and move them to the city of brass. But to also give them the choice, like, hey, you're bamfing in. You thought there was going to be Cybriexes and these lore keepers. They're gone. It's safe, kind of, although there's a lot of lava and the sounds of souls being eternally tormented is evident. However, relatively safe. And so if you guys want to turn back, you can. If you want to go forward through this, you can. But it's on you. And they pressed forward. And what is going to happen on Thursday is very much going to be a tying up of loose ends and a clarifying of world events, while also ratcheting up the pressure on the party to either intercede or make a decision one way or the other. So just real quick, I want to show you guys this because this is, I think, a good insight of like a lot of how I like to build certain things. Where is this? Oh, here we go. Like, I don't make a lot of maps. I do make some, and they're fine, but they're not like that good. They're packing up right now. At least add some wind instruments to the leaf blower so it sounds like music. Yeah, can you put some wind chimes like in front of the hose portion? Is that an option? Oh shit, I just heard something crank up. Wow. I just leaned out the window and saw one guy to another guy go like this. So for a brief moment I was like, oh, they're leaving. And the guy goes like this. This dude's huge. This guy's like probably 240, 6'4". Thumb up. And then he puts on one strap of the leaf blower and the other. And that thing is currently idling like a chainsaw. The point is, guys, we keep a clean lawn. All right? That's why I bring this up. But Long Shadow Castle, this was a map that I found years ago. It was super early in the campaign. I really liked it. I thought it was super cool. Dang it. I ran into this last time. I've credited the artist before, but I found them on Reddit. And they're on DnD Maps, on the subreddit DnD Maps. But anyway, they're fabulous. And as you can see, it's a very leveled kind of thing. The entrance is over here. Chambers, dining, abodes. They have a family crypt down here, which was perfect for my purposes of reincarnation and, old generational hauntings. And then they had this shit. Like this small little space that led out to the sea. And up above it, pretty much inaccessible other than by elevated cliffside platform, is a cavern. And this cavern, to me, forever and always felt like it needed to be for dragons. An area for dragons and dragons alone. I guess it could be for wizards, right? That are using the fly spell and coming and going. But I knew that dragons were a big part of the campaign. Dragon of Icespire Peak is in the fucking title. But the way my homebrew was going, I knew that this triumvirate of dragons was going to be important. So this was built as a tying together of the disappearing of books, the erasing of books, the justification for the wizard to have been impacting those books because he was meddling with his family, and then lastly, connecting the dragon Relturion to the BBEG. So the party basically had a lot of knowledge bombs dropped on them. They were like, oh fuck, oh shit, oh no. And faced with, that information and trying to more or less make like an informed decision, they went to the Hells. So let's look up the City of Brass and let's talk about this a little bit. There's going to be a couple things that are going to be like absolutely taking place because they're just part of the action and the lore. Yeah, this is what I'm going for. Oh, wild. Okay, this is really what I was hoping to find. Yikes. Yikes. It's hard for me to know how to conceptualize hell. Like the Judeo-Christian is just sort of like an endless sea of fire. And this is a little bit more like a city. Okay, let's see if we can find this key and then see if that like appeals to us at all. Here's another one. Interesting. Okay, well, this is a badass map, but it needs access to the key if you're going to put a bunch of numbers up. Hey, label it yourself. Label it yourself. It's whatever you want it to be, all right? So let me see what's going on. Shmir. Okay. And I'm, like I said, I'm not a huge maker of maps. So a lot of what I'm looking for is either... What the fuck's going on? Is either exactly like what I'm looking for, like sunken ship in cove battle map, or I'm looking more for images like this, right? Where I can just be like, hey, this is the vibe. Imagine the Taj Mahal, but made out of stone that was constantly moving and crumbling. Occasionally you see faces popping and stretching, elongating silently as the wordless cries of pain escape from them unheard. Like that kind of shit. In my mind, the City of Brass is made literally out of pain and souls and fire and brass. And it's lorded over, violently by these Afridi, but mainly by these 9 princes of hell. So, we'll come back to that map. It's not immediately massive. This is all in play, but let's just get down to it. Well, I would like to know a little bit more about the layout of it. Anyone ever been to hell? Non-literal. Yo, Vogel, what's up? Yo, Bugle's up for a real one. How we living, Vogel? How we doing? I would say happy Monday, but it's Tuesday. Nice try, girl. It's Tuesday. Come on. Come on. Throwing open a tab for you at work. Let's go. Let's go. That is the ultimate sign of love. Is like getting fed by the corporate hand while also vibing with your boy. Appreciate that. Hope work is going well. I'm heading to work in about 30 minutes, and I'm not too excited about it. We doing Hell City research. Yeah, we are. We're in. Has Vogel or Evie, you guys ever gone to the City of Brass or Plane of Nine Hells? I've been to the Plane of Nine Hells briefly in campaigns, but the City of Brass is something altogether new to me. So I'm looking for more of like a helpful map, right? I'd like to know some of the key areas. I don't want to have to make one myself. Okay, let's just rip through this. Hovering the hottest areas of Plane of Fire, City of Brass, shibbity beep beep, some 40 miles across. Whoa, that is a huge city. Wow. Oh, no, the city sat in a hemisphere of brass. That makes no sense, but I like it. A curtain of beaten brass surrounded the entire city. What? Stretching for hundreds of miles and giving the city its name. Incredible. So these are Efreet. Cool. Amazing. Since the brass hemisphere gave the city its ability to fly, albeit slowly, these impressive walls were typically unmanned. Okay. The dangerous fire effects of the elemental plane were suppressed by the will of the Grand Sultan. In an effort to foster more interplanar trade. I did not know that. Despite this, the city itself had a hindering effect on those of good alignment, due partly to the nature of the Efreet, but also to the numerous connecting portals with the Nine Hells. Let's fucking go. I knew I was right on with my portal play. I knew it. Okay. Surrounded by obsidian. So let's just put down some of the brass tacks. Pun suggested. City of Brass. Surrounded by a literal curtain of brass and set within a 40-mile hemisphere of brass, which gives the city its flying speed. Okay. I think that's all we need to know, right? Wrong. There is more. Okay? There is more. Foos, crush that meeting. Crush that meeting and return to us with open arms. Okay, got it. I imagine a city of brass is shaped like a teapot. It's so funny. Yo, do not call them short or stout or they will freak the fuck out. I'm also sorry that I have to go to work. I have read Dante's Inferno and I love it. And like, you know, the circles, right? Like, I don't know how to put it. Like even in Dante's version, there is almost a linear aspect to hell, right? Where like you start outside and you walk in. And so if we call that Dante's hell, right? And then if we look at the Judeo-Christian, some version of like, you fuck up and you die and then you're there in hell. Like, obviously those are way different. But Dante's hell at least had some distance occasionally from the overwhelming evil, pain, and woe that typically dictate the Plane of Nine Hells. I think that the Plane of Nine Hells within Faerun is definitely closer to Dante's than it is, I mean, definitely Judeo-Christian, but I think it's a little bit more like four-dimensional, if that makes sense. Like, let me ask you this. Like in Dante's, you can. Do you think that in the world of the Sword Coast, you can literally, physically go down to the Plane of Nine Hells? I really don't know. I've been treating it like yes, because, you know, the drow are getting super flushed and driven upward by these hellish fiends. But I think it's also accessible through plane shift, right? Through like more of a metaphysical distance than it is existing in the material plane. So I know I'm kind of talking around the subject. I'm just more kind of floating that both for feedback and to see how it hits you. because like all the like map of the elemental planes. Like I'm sure we've all seen this one, right? This little jaunt right here. And this is what gets me. Like this to me is really hard to sort, you know? So here's the material plane. And like it's just trippy as fuck. You know what I mean? Like I like it, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's trippy as fuck to me. Okay, here we go. Interesting. You know what I mean? Like this has always influenced my mindset when talking about the different planes. But I'd be lying if I said I fully understood it. Like I really don't get this shit. So, as is often the case, we find our own truth, right? Okay, copy that, Evie. I generally do homebrew too, but I like to borrow maps, man. Like I prefer to live in the Sword Coast because it's just easier for me. City of Brass is a book series, and as mentioned, is also a teapot. It's mostly been on the surface. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. I imagine it's shifting and slowly spinning districts connected via moving byways. Yeah. Because Brass makes me think of a clockwork and steampunk. Evie, that's cool. I think that's probably, I think that exists, right? Reminds me of the volcano called Katla, which is literally kettle. Ooh, wow. Okay, wow. Vogel, I did not know that. That is rad as fuck. Are you Icelandic? Okay, Katla. Man, maybe that can be worked in. I love like adjacent shifts in language that can be played with. That for me is very fun. Okay, I'd picture it less like it's a part of the material plane, and that the further you get from that, which is blessed by the light of day, the more that there are planar breaks. Yes, Evie, that is so tastefully put. I'm screenshotting it. Yeah, I think that's really what it is, right? And to kind of answer my own question, like, yes, I think you can physically get there if you go deep enough in the Underdark. But is it your feet taking you, right? Like in the same way that in the Feywild, there's this drifting horizon that's never really met, right? There's shifts in light without ever really ascending or setting from the sun or moon. And I think that kind of otherworldliness is in play here. So whatever, they decided to go to hell. They get down there. They're in this area called the library. There are no Cybriexes. They're like, what the fuck? And so they end up stepping through the, sorry, let me just find a good hellish. Let me find some hell music. Or not even, let me find something that I would like to write to that feels hellish. Cool. Okay, so they went there, and I thought they might turn back whenever the library was not available. But they didn't. They were like, okay, cool, we're good with this, we're fine. Yeah, you'd be able to walk, but you'd have to find a different wrinkle to walk back. Yes. And those would be guarded jealously by demons wishing to influence the material. I agree with that. I think that like that break between Nine Hells and material is where lesser demons have the most power, right? They definitely don't have influence like that within the actual City of Brass. Oh my gosh, hold up. I got to give my brother-in-law a hug. Shane, come here, dude. I love you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, when you close it, just hit that top, right? All right, you're the man, Shane. Travel safe, buddy. Such a good dude. Lucky to have him as a bro. And as I mentioned, we share a birthday, y'all. Like, how special is that? Okay, so they teleported down. They then were in the library. There was no one there. They were unsure of what the move was. And they chose to step through this portal. And I described it... Where the fuck are we? Okay, great. And I described it as them being surrounded utterly by darkness. Like complete, unbroken, overwhelmingly comprehensive darkness. Hang on, I gotta let Marley in. Hold up. Get in here, John. Get in here. Get in here, big boy. Come on. cute little boat. I love you so much. God, I love you so much. Marley has been getting cute as hell, and it's like honestly driving me nuts. He's hit another level of being cute, and I can't handle it. Here's an even worse train wreck of a question. Oh, meatball. I'm ready, baby boy. You know I'm ready for that train to wreck. Does space exist only in the material plane? Can you fly out into space in the material plane and end up in the Beastlands or Mechanus? Interesting. I mean, I think it's similar. In my mind, the astral plane exists almost like the Milky Way, kind of surrounding, like Earth exists within the Milky Way. You could physically, theoretically, fly in a space shuttle and elsewhere and make it from the material to the Milky Way. With the astral plane, I think it's similar kind of wrinkles. It's almost like you're looking for like a split, a fourth angle of movement by which to move from one to the other. I think that's why stuff like plane shift and spells like that are so powerful and so necessary. But I would say yes. I think you can fly up and end up in the Beastlands. I think it's more of a question of like, can you fly that far, right? Like how many spell slots do you have? But you tell me, Meatball, how does that hit you? It's a very good question, dude. But the party found themselves in this black room, and over on the side was just this pinprick of light. And they approached it and they heard a voice.
The voice of, what was his name? Who was this guy? Fuck. Baradamus, yes.
I described him as like a devilish like combination. He looked like the head of a minotaur, sort of the lower body and wings of an imp. He had the chest and torso of a demon. He was intense. He was gravelly. He was irreverent. He runs more or less like a cursing business. People can come and bring him the true name of a creature, and he will create a curse around that. The party like tried to ask him for all kinds of different shit, and he was like, look,
I deal in curses. Like, that's my thing. I could curse you.
And no one was really all that interested. I had a blast, but no one was really all that interested. Evie, thank you for that. I'm about to get to that. But once they pressed through, they saw that they were inside this enormous kind of vaulting city that was incredibly terraced and leveled. And I didn't describe it as moving in clockwork, but I think that's a great way to do it, right? The streets and bridges move like clockwork, clicking and clanking into and out of place. Sea of fire burning in the distance. Thanks, Chonko. We're good, buddy. We're safe. We're safe. He's dropping off mail. Burning in the distance offers a roaring heat that is not felt with the intensity of the visual provided. Give me a I think charisma saving throw. Effects of hell. Or begin to rot. Memory begins to twist. I just like the idea of them being like fucked with. You know what I mean? Like that to me is important. In my 3.5 campaign, I had the planes functioning similar to an atom. Interesting. Like they're all kind of relative to each other. Like how some D&D lore has it like a solar system. Yes, got it. That's kind of how my mind's eye presents it. The central physicality was material, shifting in parts with Feywild and parts between the two, like transition places, yeah. Then the elemental planes, the next orbit beyond, like another path of electrons, brilliantly put, cycling in transition between the basic elements and the transition form. Yeah. Oh, and the transition from one to the next and back, got it. Then the orbit of life, Shadowfell, death, undeath, before finally reaching the orbit of the celestial. Ooh, that's great. That's amazing. That is so cohesive, right? Like, and I'm realizing like that's not too different from how I view it, except you have provided so much more detail and specificity to the physical layout, which is kind of what Meatball was talking about a little bit, right? And for me as both DM and player, that is extremely, extremely helpful the more I'm able to really lock in like the visual map of where things are relative to everything else. But in this case, they've made it to the city of Brass, right? They're there. I mean, it is flame and hell and fire. There are pit fiends and hellish overlords bartering with ogres and fire giants. There's a kiosk selling mage hands, but they are literally the hands of mages. The streets themselves seem to wind if your eye follows them too far, shifting in a glittering mirage of distant brass. I fuck with that. I fuck with that. Interesting. Yeah, exactly, Meatball. A flat map does not do the job. And that's why this one is so trippy. Because this to me feels like they wanted it to be like almost like globe-like, you know? Like almost like with the way that they've designed the Feywild on the right and Shadowfell on the left, like they're trying to create levels, I think, that is not really represented here in a 2D map. You know, so that's sort of just the downside of it, period. I love that. Okay. That's awesome. And its symbol was used as an information thing needed in early games, so I had to map it out. Got it. A similar model has always made sense to me. You need an array to properly communicate where everything is in relation to each other. Got it. Yes, completely. Completely. And like, I'm not saying that necessarily I need to make that for the party, but already that's come up where they've been like, so if we went into the Underdark and just went down, would we make it to hell? You know? And the answer is no, except maybe, you know, you could. Would you find a wrinkle or not? Would you find one of these like long stretches of shadow that doesn't exist between either? Doesn't exist on the material or in the plane of nine hells, but is there as this almost ethereal middle ground. They never managed to get to anywhere outside the central cycle. I love that. Evie like bugles the fuck up for that. That is the ultimate DM. You're like, what about the 17 things that I carefully planned and mapped out? Okay. That's hilarious. For the city of Brass, because brass mirrors were a thing at some point, there could be points of awareness and seeing into the other planets. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good. On many an enormous brass mirror stretches across the space. In it, reflected murkily, are different planes. Watery and indefinite, infinite and astral. You see too, the city of Silvery Moon. And a battalion of drow encircling it. Cool. What else would be sold in hell? Lots of fire resistant stuff. But this is, I need to get to the Yeah, Sultan of the Ifrit, right. Tyrannical, totally. This is going to be more like a council, but we will give the Grand Sultan. Dude, what a name. Marak al-Sadan al-Harik bin Lazan. Yo, dude. Can I just call you Sultan? Is that okay? Okay, so trade. Damn. Cool. Mini Azure Smiths. Let me just like. Let's just see what we have here. And again, like I just like having options because I never know when my party needs me to vamp and explain for 20 minutes or when they're just going to role play within their own party for an hour. You know what I mean? So that cycle is ever present. Oh my gosh. Vogel, I missed you. Darn it. Oh, that was 14 days ago. Never mind. Okay, so I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but I do think putting down some of these is huge. So Azure Smiths on Hellblades and burnt metal armor. Pint Fiends, got it. Many of them are slavers. You see dozens and dozens of shackled drow. Cool. Now I'm going to highlight this because I'm really trying to reinforce like what's going on with the drow, why they're heading upwards, etc. So we'll open the session. They will still be with Baradamas here in his little like his little shop of curses. And presumably they'll like bust his balls for a while and be like, give us shit for free, Baradamas. We're the storm chasers.
To which he'll be like, I don't give a shit who you are. There's no storms in hell, you pussies. Ah!
And then he'll disappear. He'll just turn invisible like an imp. But I know that they will then wander around the city. I want to be able to color the city of brass for them. If it was Silvery Moon or Neverwinter or Sundabar, if it was a city they'd been to before, I wouldn't sweat it. I would grab a couple things that I know they would remember and associate and ping that. But when it's a first time experience, I really want to make sure I can paint that. So let's get a little bit more. I want to know where the like government, where like the Sultan holds his meetings, right? Okay, cool. This is what we need to look at. So I don't think I'm going to be able to download. Yeah. Okay, the furnace, got it. The breath of the Sultan, the charcoal palace. I think that's where we got to center. I love this. This is amazing. The Eternal Flame Pavilion. This is badass. Okay. Cool. And like for any DM out there, and I'm sure Evie would back me up. I mean, or I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I mean, truly, any DM, give me your thoughts on this. But the more you are able to go out and really, really prepare that opening scene, the easier your session is going to be. You know, like anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm kind of like unsure of what would be the most helpful, I just focus on the beginning. Because you know where your party is going to start. You have no idea where they're going to go after that. I mean, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Okay. cool. I think they're like literally selling different magics. Yes, sir. Thank you. Cool. I mean, if they buy anything in hell, they deserve the curse that will undoubtedly find them. Right? Okay, great. Cool. And I just want to put some of this in here to, like, if they're walking around, to give them a little more description and color, etc. Buildings in the city of Brass. And, like, I don't know how long they're going to be in hell. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, let's make this work, I guess. I don't know. Mosque of the Irreducible. Wow. This is crazy. It's just like way, way deeper and more aggressive than I thought it was going to be. But I'm okay with that. That's okay. I can do aggressive curses. I can handle them, I think. So the Eternal Flame Pavilion. A Parthenon styled temple, but between the support columns, geysers of unbroken flame erupt. The Charcoal Palace will be, I think, where they end up. I just like the idea. I like the name of that. Irreducible. That's just a Wheel of Time reference, so I know it quickly. And people disagree on this. I'm curious, like, other people's opinions. But oh yes, I love this. I love this. Evie, I missed so many of these. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm going back through all of this. Okay, I'm going to read all this in a second. I love the suggestions. Yeah, I mean, well, let's just get through it and then we'll see where we end up. For the city of Brass, because Brass Mirror's got it. Where Brass has not tarnished, you might accidentally see into the higher planes. Wow. Possibly something that you aren't meant to understand. You could need a saving throw to decipher and not experience psychic damage. Oh my God. That's so, I mean, Evie, this is incredible. That is so fucking good. Roll the D4 on a 1 and intelligence. I love that. I love the idea of, like, them seeing things they're not meant to see. That's cool. Very cool. Traditionally, slaves. Got it. You mean in terms of what's sold? Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we're going to have that there. I mean, that's something that was, covered in our lines and veils. I obviously, slavery is disgusting. And not just, like, American slavery, but I mean, like, the current day, almost like labor slaves. And I don't just mean you or I, although we are. I mean, like, literal non-paid, impressed into service for years. It's just weird how much is not really covered that is still happening in terms of human rights violations. But in the 9 hells, we got to own it. We got to lean in. The constant sin of hot metal. Yes. Evie, how well put. I'm literally just copying and pasting that. Love it. so good. Shabba-dabba. Come on, guys. You know the deal. I love that. Oh, my bad. Hey, you know I love a good hog tie. Bring it on. Bring it on. I usually have an idea of where they are and what's around them, but my session lead-ins have a tendency to just be a recap of the last session. Got it. And a prompt for the next behaviors. Got it. I reveal more of their surroundings and encounters as they progress and observe it. Totally. I mean, sometimes you're picking up exactly where you left off, right? And in those cases, it's pretty straightforward. You're like, okay, like this is how it's going to be. But there's other times where in my opinion, it is really important and helpful. Like sometimes my prompt, to use Evie's language, is the description of the scenario. And I'm not saying like, oh, I mean, Evie's way is great because it's also very efficient, right? You recap and then you're like, so what you guys doing? You know? Or however it's done, right? However it's laid out. Yeah, I like that, Evie. I am more talking to the fact that if I'm going to do stuff like this, like write out some descriptors, some reference points, some imagery, I'm probably not going to do that as expansively for other areas. Because it's like, yo, I don't know where the fuck you guys are going to end up. I think Con... suffer a point of exhaustion. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Got it. What is this? Irreducible. Wow, that's such a weird name. Mosque of the Irreducible. Like, what kind of god is afraid of being reduced? Wow. Freya. Wow. Fertility and love. Wow. Cool. I did not expect there to be a mosque of love in the city of Brass, but let's get it. Cool. Charcoal Palace, I love it. The seat of power of the Nine Princes. Led by the Efreeti Sultan. And then let's just use this guy's name. This guy's name is way too funky to not use, right? Holler out at my boy Marak al-Sadan al-Harik bin Lazan. Yo, dude. Can I buy a vowel? Yo, my dude. Will you loan me a vowel? Please. I'm begging you, please. Okay. Now, forgive me, I get a little bit of OCD with this sometimes. I know I could just leave it, but I don't want to. Cool. Great. Bongos. Oh, I did it again. I queued the pigs. I queued the hogs. Damn it. That's I love that. If I wasn't streaming an AP and had the ability to cut off at different points as opposed to the time we need to cut off by, I would probably have more of a solid cut between sessions that would allow exposition. Man, I feel that. Evie, I did my first paid GM game through Start Playing, and I felt that, where I was like, damn. Like, I don't want it to be slow, but I like when things slow down. And like the role play really steps forward. That to me can be very immersive, very fun and cool. And I think every DM or GM out there loves it when their party is genuinely having to have a conversation. Like, what do we think about this guy? Do we feel we can defeat that army? Is it worth us to press through the Lurkwood to get there in 2 days? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that is challenged in an actual play, right? In the sense that you have, one, an audience to think of, but, a timing schedule, right? Maybe you're trying to do this story in 8 episodes, or, we need to get to the finish line by March 15th or whatever. And that's a factor that is, I feel like, underappreciated by the audience of actual plays. That's one of the many things that, in my opinion, makes it very, very hard. But I totally feel that, Evie, 100%. Do you have any home games going? Just curious. Faerun has an underlying theme of gods growing and reducing. Yep. Oh my God. So that's what's going on here. Based off their power obtained via how prominent their following is. The fancy title makes sense to me. Yeah, that's cool. He's like, for every new follower, I add an adjective. I add a vowel. Okay. So this is the real meat and potato. The 9 Princes of Hell. Led by the Afriti Sultan, Marake. I love that. Evie, that's really well put. The swelling Scaravan has been unexpected. Oh, this is what I need. Fuck. Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, yes. I don't know why I didn't think of this first. An enormous gold scorpion towering over a domed mosque. Okay, I love that. The risen temple of Scaravan. Long sunk and forgotten. Now burgeoning upward. Misspelled that. Upward, seeking his rightful place among the stars. But twisting up the innards of this flying city while doing so. Okay, I love that. So, these demon princes are mostly towering and immense, but live in fear as they can be summoned forth unwillingly at a moment's notice. An effect of the list of names. In fact, once or twice, a demon bloody curses ripping from its forked tongue is called forth, called to the surface against its will. So the list of true names, or the list of names, as some people love it. Ooh, succubi and incubi. I love that. Ugh, I like that, Evie. That's very cool. It's not even just that. My Cypher game, Empyrean Rising, is an ongoing, so we don't necessarily have a session number. Got it. Just that we go, and it gets to when the session has to end, and they have to cut off the end or start of an interaction. Got it. Yeah, I've got a little more wiggle room, right? We start at 6. We usually play till about like 9:15, 9:30. But if there's a good spot to stop, I'll stop at 9. Or likewise, like if I really feel like we need 10 more minutes, I'll go to 9:45, like whatever. The only problem there is that one of my players is on the East Coast. So if we're starting at 6, he's starting at 9. And if we're going till 9:30, he's going till 12:30, which is just hard for him. And then 2 other players of mine are in Central And so they're 2 hours ahead of us. And it's kind of a similar deal, a little bit less, but both of them, or all three of them really are, I mean, fabulous people, but are, you know, professionals that have pretty consistently early mornings. So I feel that, Evie. I mean, I need to check out Empyrean Rising. I just have not seen enough of that. But, you know, managing an actual play, getting that balance and landing it is so, so hard. So if you enjoy someone's actual play, like, fucking thank them. So with that in mind, thank you, Evie. Thank you. You know what? Let's chat you out. Let's see if we can get lucky here. Now, is this going to work? I think this will work. Please let it work. Come on. Come on. Do it. Damn. I'm using Restream, which I don't know if you remember when we did our Between Two DMs. Restream was like losing its fucking mind. I have no idea why. Okay, here we go. I got it. Oh, of course, that's why. Got it. Okay. This should do it. Here we go. Have we done it? Yes.
And I'm guilty of this myself as a storyteller. We get caught very much up in the issue of the present.
I need to lengthen my shout-outs because I always get a taste. I get my thirst whetted but not satisfied, right? We wanted more. We wanted more there. That is so funny, Evie. Okay, well, I can see how that would be, you know, that would be real. Like that's a challenging balance to strike even in a home game, much less whenever you're doing it in an actual play, right? That just becomes so much more demanding. But here's the deal. Here's where we're about to wrap things. Is really tucking into the how and the why of what could possibly scare a demon. And if you know anything about like the lore of like demons or like demon princes, like, you know, typically filled with hate, lust, rage, right? Like the 7 deadly sins. But there's also like this undercurrent, at least in my interpretation, this driving sense of fear and jealousy. And maybe that's like peeling the psychological onion back, but in the same way that in the classic middle school bully sense, if somebody's coming up and bullying you, most of the time that's about them. And I don't mean to like, you know, to make it okay for anyone to be unkind to someone, but rather to get into the why of it. If you are a fiend that is able to rise to the rank of demon prince, you got some fucking blood on your hands, boy. You got some blood on your hands, and you probably have eyes in the back of your head because you have made so many enemies and made them so violently that it's probably hard to imagine a world where death isn't seeking you as well. I love that. But yeah, City of Brass. Sure. So their goal there is unclear. I don't know why they went. It's more of like a fact-finding mission. That obviously plays into my goal, right? Which is explaining why the Nine Hells are rising and what's going on. But this is what's going to be going on inside. Situation of the charcoal. Okay, so the list of true names has destabilized them. Halted this encroachment upward into the Underdark. But their own heel were driven by the yawning growth of the old gods. A resurrection impossible and unexpected. Yeah, here we go. And this is really getting into like the teeth of it, Evie. So bear with me if you don't mind. Unexpected. For the plane of 9 hells is where the gods too are sent to die. In the rare case, they are cast from the heavens. Such was the case in their bloody sire Bala. The ruined temples of Bala Scaravan. Aided by the storm god. Okay, cool. Have pushed upward, returning to their former height. But why? How? At what cost? As these princes seek answers and safety and autonomy, they themselves feel trapped between the gods and the drow. Okay. You could lean into that worship followers begets dedication, deification that Ulfarun had, especially with that irreducible title, rising and attempting to gather not just fear, which may be a substance for them, but also the hunger for more power. Interesting, yeah. Well, that's kind of what the gods are doing, right? I think for the fiends, I think for these 9 princes, a lot of them are about like lording over, like, of course, the hells, but like leveraging the power they have on the material plane as fearsome deities of death. The fact that these old gods that were once part of like the actual material pantheon, but have been banished into the hells, the fact that they have been gathering influence, worship, followers, have been aided by the living, breathing god Thalos, is now like physically uprooting some of the aspects of the city of Brass. I like the idea of these temples that were in hell in the city of Brass to these old forgotten gods have now like resurrected themselves. And it's fucking alarming. Like they don't really fuck with that. Like if something dies in the hells, it's gone. So it coming back makes no sense and it's kind of terrifying. It doesn't come back. But these 2 gods have. Wary of the deceiver Morcanus, who has stolen the Sibriux and the power, the secrets they hold. In league with Wizard of the Stars. Cool. Cool. Okay. I jam with this. I jam with this. Maybe I'll come back on Thursday and do a little bit more. Cool. But see, like, I just want them to be able to know what these Afridi and what these demon lords are talking about. Like, why the fuck are these temples here? Right? Like, why is Morcanus doing this? Belonging to the sorcerer Telkun. Okay, cool. This I fuck with. Cool. Okay, lovers. I gotta go pay the man. I gotta go grind the man. I gotta go grind. Evie, you rock. Like, I love hanging with you. I love when you come through, but you are so creative and such an amazing storyteller. Thank you for lending me some of that and letting me steal it. Incredible. Like, I love chopping it up with you about this. Your grasp of the world and then the causal trickle down of like effect and result is A+. You know what I mean? So appreciate that. Good luck received. Meatball, love you, dude. Appreciate you coming through. Sage, you were here. Fusca, Vogly, dude, my boy. Shattergat the Black. Let's go, dude. Appreciate you coming through, raising that hand. I see you, baby boy. Zella 5812. Let's go. I would not be here without you guys. So thank you for being sweet to me, for coming through, for helping me craft this campaign, and also for just lending me your vibe, because it goes a long way and it uplifts me. Okay, I love you. I'm not going to raid anybody because I really do need a jet, but I will be streaming Thursday. I don't think I'll be streaming Friday. I don't want to commit to that and not be able to get there. But Thursday I will. And then this Sunday, I'm going to be on Insomnia Night stream. So grab your popcorn. It's going to be fun. But as always, guys, take care of each other.